Hello, my name is Lisa Great, and I am back with you here with the Apostolic Resource Center. We are so thankful that you are following these videos. We hope they're beneficial to you and that you continue to increase and grow in your understanding of the Lord and of His operation amongst His people today. I am so excited about this word I want to share with you today. I titled it Dreams, Prophecy, Personal, or Pizza. And the reason I did that is because people sometimes will say, I had this dream and it felt like a pizza dream, meaning they ate something late at night and then all of a sudden they had these crazy thoughts in their head. And I've had dreams like that too, not because I ate pizza, but that's kind of the catchphrase that we use when we talk about dreams that are pizza dreams. But I wanted to talk to you to continue with this idea of whose voice are you hearing, but I wanted to bring in the element of dreams. And the reason I want to bring in the element of dreams is because I believe that God is speaking in such creative ways to people, and many people don't recognize that it is God that is speaking to them. And so they either don't obey the instructions they received in the dream, they don't understand the interpretation of the dream, or they don't even believe that God speaks in dreams. And so I wanted to just give a brief understanding of dreams and how to understand them as the language of God. We know scripturally there were many people that had dreams. Many people had dreams. And one of them I was just looking at before I got onto this video is in Genesis 28, the story of Jacob. And it says in verse 10, Jacob departed from Beersheba and went to Haran. He came to a certain place and spent the night there because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of the place and put it under his head and lay down in that place. He had a dream. Do you recognize, did you realize, do you remember, I didn't remember, that's why I'm asking, that the story of Jacob's ladder was actually a dream. It said that he had a dream, and behold, a ladder was set on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the land on which you lie, I will give it to you and your descendants. And he goes on to say, your descendants will also be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and in your descendants shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. It's so interesting to me that that was a dream that Jacob had. He had a dream and he saw a ladder with angels of God ascending and descending. And at the top of the ladder in the heavens, he heard a voice, and his voice said, I'm going to give you this land. Have you ever thought about the fact that God gives things to us in dreams, and then we work with the Holy Ghost who dwells inside of us on earth to appropriate that which God has spoken to us in a night vision, or I like to call dreams night parables? Have you ever considered that? Do you value your dreams? People say, well, what do you mean, do I value my dreams? Some people dream a lot, some people dream a little, but do you value your dreams? You know how you show you value your dreams? You write them down. I have a book, somebody gave me a journal, and it's called Professional Dreamer, because I was having so many dreams. Now, the people that probably wrote the book were talking about like entrepreneurs that have business dreams and ideas and goals and all that other stuff that they do in the world. But she's a prophetic person, and she understood that I was having prophetic dreams. And so she sewed into my life this journal called The Professional Dreamer. And every time I have a dream, I get up in the morning and I write that dream down. And then what I do, and this is how you show you value your dreams. This is just practical application for you on how to show value for your dreams. Number one, you write it down. Immediately, you write it down. Number two, if you don't know how to interpret your own dreams, I would encourage you to do a little bit of study. There are great YouTube videos by John Paul Jackson on dreams and mysteries. Just go to YouTube, type in John Paul Jackson, dreams and mysteries. And he does a great little 20-minute snippet videos on different ways to decipher and discern what is being said in dreams. Because dreams are pictures, sometimes motion pictures, sometimes snapshot pictures, but they're pictures. And those pictures are actually communicating to you a message that the Lord is trying to give you. Have you ever heard the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words? So when you see a prophetic picture in a dream, or you see a picture, you may not know if it's a pizza picture, a personal picture, or a prophetic picture, which we will get to in a minute. But when you see a picture in a dream, the way you show value for that dream is to write it down, to do some study, to learn how to discern what the images are. The third thing you can do is take the key components of that dream and Google them. Like a friend of mine had a dream about me the other day. And in this dream, there was a car called a Javelin. The name of the car is an AMC Javelin. It was built in 1968 to 74, just a real short amount of time. But it was an AMC Javelin. The car color was green. He saw me backing up erratically, and then I turned into a high-rise. So key components in my dream. The car. When you learn about dreams, cars usually represent ministries. The color green. You do some study on the color green from prophetic people that understand things. You come to find out green means go. That's pretty obvious. The traffic lights green mean go. Did you know also green means prophetic? Green is connected to inheritance or wealth. So you kind of get all these variables together and you write them all down. You write down cars. They represent ministry. They represent mobility. They represent moving or going somewhere. You write down green. And then I wrote down the word high-rise. And I looked up the definition of high-rise. I know what a high-rise is, but I looked up the definition. And it's called a building with many stories. Well, immediately I knew that the dream was about me, that I am doing prophetic adventures, and God is using my life for prophetic adventures that I go on. And the reality is that there are many stories inside of me. I am the building of God. There are many stories inside of me. Now, I know a high-rise is stories as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if you think about it, when you really start to discern and be able to decipher dreams, not only can you discern your own, you can discern dreams that other people have had about you as well. And then you begin to realize, oh my gosh, God is telling him, Lisa is on prophetic adventures and she's gaining many stories. Which was encouraging to me because it encouraged me to share my testimony more often of the things that God is doing. To me, it was go, Lisa, go share the stories that I have given, that the Lord has given you on these prophetic adventures, because I haven't really done that. So can you see how dreams are messages? And the cool thing is that my friend said, green is my favorite color. That's why the fact that that car was green doesn't surprise me. And the fact that it was erratic backwards driving, meaning the person was backing up because they missed a turn, that's very much how I do things when I'm on prophetic adventures. I don't necessarily know where I'm going, so it can look like I'm being erratic, but it's because I'm trying to listen to the Lord. Where are you sending me in this situation? And yeah, there's times I know exactly where I'm going. There's other times I got to back up and turn here and go there because I'm not real clear. So I just want to encourage you that to value your dreams. Value your dreams. They are a blessing from God. They are a form of communication from God. Now, how do you know what voice you're hearing in your dreams? There are 3 main voices we talked about in the last video. You're either hearing the voice of God, the voice of self, or the voice of the enemy. So I label it this way. You're either hearing the voice of God, prophetic dream. You're either hearing the voice of self, personal dream, or you could be hearing the voice of the enemy, a pizza dream. Because I've had dreams where I'm like, this makes total no sense at all. There's no prophetic utterance in this. This is just chaos. Well, chaos is an indicator of the enemy himself. Or maybe I have these super destructive dreams. Some of them may be prophetic, but I got to really discern, God, what are you saying in this situation? Anyway, so let's talk about prophetic dreams really quick. A prophetic dream is God instructing you, inviting you, or informing you. Okay? That's what usually prophetic dreams are. God's either instructing you in something that he needs you to know that maybe you couldn't hear because of the busyness of your life or because of your inability. There's things in our subconscious that are embedded in us that God needs to uproot out of us. And sometimes he'll give us a prophetic dream. I had a friend of mine yesterday. She said to me she had a prophetic dream. And it was a dream where someone was actually following her around from room to room to room. And she knew that it was a form of a sexual predator that was coming after her. And in her dream, she literally said, no, you will not follow me around. No, this will not happen in my life. And some of it is historical for her. So this prophetic dream was letting her know there may be someone coming that's going to try to exploit you for sexual reasons. And so after a conversation yesterday that her and I had related to some other subject matter, I said, isn't it interesting? I really believe that God gave you that dream to prepare you for this information. And it was prophetic in nature, the dream. So prophetic dreams can instruct you. They can instruct you on how to act and what to do. Prophetic dreams can invite you. They can invite you into an adventure with God. Let me just tell you about one of my prophetic dreams that I had. I had a prophetic dream that I was going to Garden City, Kansas. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Garden City, Kansas. In the dream, I didn't know I was going to Garden City. So in the dream, I was at my mom and dad's house, and we were taking down Christmas trees in the living room. And my son was there, and my dad was there, and we were taking down these Christmas trees. And I left the room where the Christmas trees were, where we were moving all the decorations from it. And I went in. This is a house I've lived in, so I knew it very well in the dream. I moved into the back bedroom, and I went to start packing. And as I was packing, my sister was sitting on my bed, and I was in the closet, and I had my suitcase on the bed, and I was packing clothes. And my sister's a travel agent, or she used to be. And so she said to me, she goes, where are you going? I said, I got to pack because I'm leaving for a flight to Garden City, and it leaves in about an hour. And that's all I said to her. Well, I was packing jeans and hiking boots and a baseball cap and just some very outdoorsy type clothes. And I was thinking to myself, because I had said to her, I'm going on a business trip. I forgot that detail. I was going on a business trip to Garden City. But I was packing these outdoorsy clothes, and I remember thinking in my dream, this is odd that I'm packing these kind of clothes for a business trip. Because you would think that you'd be wearing like dress pants and, a nice shirt, and you would be preparing yourself for some kind of a business trip. But little did I know in the dream, until after I woke up, that God was using that as an invitation to send me on a prophetic adventure. So I got up, and I'd never heard of Garden City. Who knew where it was going to be in the world or what God was trying to say about it? My first thought was the Garden of Eden in Genesis, and then the city of God that's coming down in Revelation. I thought, that's a garden city. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But I didn't really get a piece about that. And as you learn to discern your dreams, you'll start to know how to interpret them. Anyway, after a series of events, writing the dream down, looking up Garden City, I come to find there's a Garden City, Missouri, and then there's a Garden City, Kansas. So I did some research on each of the cities and came to find out that I really believed God wanted us in the Apostolic Resource Center to go to Garden City, Kansas. And I didn't quite know what for, other than I knew we were supposed to ask for the ancient path. So long story short, this dream was an invitation to go on a prophetic adventure to go to Garden City, Kansas, in which we met this lady who I was able to share the gospel with. We were able to blow the shofar and ask God to open up the ancient path. We were able to pour oil on the soil at the geological center of the United States of America and rededicate this country back to God. And we were able to salt the river after we found out the number of people that died in that river right there in Garden City. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. So it's either an instruction or an invitation, or it's potentially something that God is trying to warn you about. So just keep your ears open to what God is saying in your dreams. Write them down. Show him that you value them. Now, there are also personal dreams. A personal dream is, let's say you've got a lot on your mind and you have a dream. A lot of times a personal dream is going to be something that's, maybe you're stressed out. Maybe you're concerned about something. Maybe you're going through a hard time. Maybe you're having relationship challenges with someone. Maybe you're having issues at work. Maybe you're having problems in your marriage. Personal dreams are dreams that are going to communicate to you while you're sleeping because you're dealing with the stress of it during the day and you haven't had time to process it. Did you know that when you sleep, and why sleep is so important, your body not only physically rejuvenates, but everything that has come into your mind throughout the day, it's like a mental download that takes place. And so that's why I call it personal dreams. Dreams that are about personal issues that you may be going through. Personal things that are happening in your life. Again, I encourage you to write them down, dissect the details of them, and try to decipher, is this a prophetic dream where God is inviting me on a prophetic adventure, or he's instructing me in a certain way he wants me to go? Is this a personal dream where this is just my thoughts downloading in the middle of the night because then I haven't had time to process them? Whether you're a journaler, whether you're a talker, like I like to go to my friends and process my thoughts. I'm just like, I have a very core group of people that I process my innermost thoughts with. And I go through the process with them. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm going through. And they do the same thing with me. So that when we're out in public and we're in situations where we're able to meet with other people, we're not overwhelmed with our own thoughts and thinking about ourselves all the time. We're actually able to be ministers, servants of those that we get to meet as we go out throughout the day. Because we have this core group of people in which we share, this is what's happening with us, because we want to be able to go and love people well. And so you have to have those people that are your close connection, those people that you can share those personal thoughts with. But that is why you would have personal dreams. Now, a pizza dream, it's so funny. I have something on my hand here I'm trying to get rid of. A pizza dream is a dream where it just doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it. It's very convoluted. You don't understand anything about it. It seems to be very erratic. Like there's something here, something there, this, that. And those are the kind of dreams that we call pizza dreams. Or it could be a demonic dream. The enemy operates in the night. He loves the night. The Bible's very clear about the deeds of the night and the operation of the night. And so it could be very well, just as maybe there'll be a thought that I call it the reader board of your mind. Have you ever seen those scrolling marquees where information scrolls across? We have a scrolling marquee in our mind. And have you ever had a thought that scrolls across your mind and you're like, where did that come from? Well, the enemy sent that. He just sent a scrolling marquee thought across your mind. And that's why the Bible says, take every thought captive under the authority of Christ, because there are thoughts that seek to exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. It's those scrolling marquee thoughts that go across your mind. That's what happens in the night as well. In I call it a pizza dream, but like I say, it could be demonic. But I don't like to give the enemy a whole lot of credit, and I don't like to give him a whole lot of attention because he's a big attention-seeking spirit. So I call pizza dreams those ones that there's thoughts that come into your night visions and into your dreams, and you're like, what does that have to do with anything? It maybe has nothing to do with anything. Maybe it's just the enemy trying to scare you, trying to put fear in you. And I will tell you this, one way to know whether it was God's voice that was releasing a dream, your voice that's releasing a dream, or the enemy's voice that's releasing a dream, whenever the enemy releases a dream, a thought, an idea to you, it will always come accompanied with fear. Because the enemy is the author of fear. He loves to create fear. Because fear causes chaos, causes panic, causes people not to be able to think clearly. And then we react rather than respond. So that's just a little tip for you on how to understand maybe what kind of dream it was. So I hope that's helpful for you that are trying to learn to understand whose voice am I hearing. And maybe you have a lot of dreams. I go on a lot of prophetic adventures. And a lot of them come from dreams. They really do. They come from dreams or they come out of my prayer time. And so I really believe that God is communicating with his people, and he's inviting us into a biblical lifestyle that's really going to bring forth the glory of God by doing these different activities. And you may feel weird at first. I don't even know when I started doing this, but I just knew I was hearing his voice and I obeyed. And people thought I was strange. I started with redigging wells, meaning I would go to destination locations and just honor the revivalist or the man or woman of God that had a powerful outpouring in that location. And then the Lord told me, I want you to release this, I want you to salt the rivers, which, to be honest with you, the very first river I salted was because of a prophetic dream I had when I was staying in Redding, California for the summer. It was a prophetic dream that sent me to do the salting of the rivers. So I started salting rivers. I did that for a year, and I keep adding, right? I'm still doing, anytime I get near a well, I call for that well to be opened according to Genesis 26. Salting the rivers is according to 2 Kings 2. And then the Lord told me to release the sound of the shofar to call for help from heaven. So the sound of the shofar was SOS is what he showed me. And he said, I want you to call from heaven. And that's Psalm 121. From where does my help come from? My help comes from the maker of heaven and earth. I lift up my eyes to the hills. And so I would lift up the sound of the shofar into the atmosphere and ask the Lord to hear the sound of the shofar and send help from heaven for his people on earth, wherever we would be. And now he's got me pouring oil on the soil. And that actually comes out of this dream with Jacob's ladder, where he actually put the stones, and it's further along here in Genesis 28, where it actually says that he called the name of the place Bethel, even though it was called Luz, and he made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me on this journey, I will make and give me food to eat and garments to wear. I will return to my father's house in safety. And what he ended up doing was stacking up these rocks, and then he poured oil. Oh, I missed it. It's in verse 18. So Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on its top. He called the name of that place Bethel. So the Lord told me, I want you to pour oil on the soil and rededicate the land to me. And that's exactly what Jacob did. He poured oil on that rock, and that oil went down into the soil, and he renamed the place Bethel. And he rededicated that place to God. And so that's what the Lord's got me doing. I don't know what he's going to have you doing, but I just wanted you to be encouraged that God is mobilizing his church. Church is not a building. Church is people. Church is you. Church is me. We are the church. We are the ecclesia. We are the called out ones. We are the disciples of Jesus Christ. And he is calling us. He is inviting us. He is instructing us through many different ways of hearing his voice to reveal his communication style. And I'll tell you this, he's going to talk your language. Some people have dreams about tractors and agriculture stuff. And guess what? They live on a farm. They understand that language. I'm more of a city girl. So when somebody has a dream about a high rise, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. You know, or when somebody has a dream about a car, I understand. And so I just want you to be encouraged that God speaks in such creative ways. And I believe that you're hearing his voice. And maybe you're having dreams and you've never understood what it was about. I hope this video helped you. I hope it encouraged you to know that God is speaking to you even in your dreams. But you got to decipher, is it a prophetic dream, a personal dream, or a pizza dream? I hope you're blessed, and may the Lord continue to communicate with you his truth, because he is really using his people as ambassadors in the earth as it is in heaven. And so if you would like to partner with the Apostolic Resource Center, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, charitable. We're not a church, we're a charitable organization. We do training, equipping, and deploying of the saints to do the work of the ministry. And so I myself am doing it. I've got a team of people that I do it with. There's about 30 of us that function together here in the Kansas City area. We do not have a certain building. We all go to a variety of different churches. None of us are trying to take somebody from somebody else's church. We all go to different churches. We honor the churches that the different people go to. We love it that the people that are in the ministry that we're a part of are a part of other ministries and churches and supporting what God is doing there. We have marketplace ministers. We have worship ministers. We have people like me that are doing prophetic apostolic adventures. Everybody kind of fulfills the goal and the role that God has invited them into. But we are doing life together as a community, and we're having a great time. If you would like to support the Apostolic Resource Center and what God has called us to do, we would love your support. I do this full time. This is my full-time job. Whatever comes in, that's what I live off of. I do not do fundraisers or anything of that nature. I trust the Lord financially, and that is a whole nother testimony. I'll share it another time, because God has been so faithful through all these years to financially provide for me. And it hasn't been abundantly. I don't have some super nice truck that I'm driving or live in some big house. I actually live in a townhome. But God has been so faithful, because I've come to realize that real riches are not how much money's in the bank, but how much prosperity is in your soul. So we'll talk about that in another episode, but I just wanted to encourage you. If you would like to donate to the Apostolic Resource Center, I have two ways for you to do that. One, you can go to the Apostolic, just go to www.apostolicresourcecenter.org. And you can click the donate button. You can read about what we do on our website and see what's happening there. Or you can go to Facebook, to Apostolic Resource Center, and click the donate button there. I have linked my 501c3 to Facebook. They have approved it as a legitimate 501c3 organization, so you can donate right through Facebook if you want to do that as well. So anyway, that's the offer to you. We appreciate you listening. We hope God is blessing you. And please share your stories with us. We would love to hear what God is doing through you. We are covering the Kansas City area, and wherever the Lord sends us, we go. We just got back from Rolla, Missouri last week. We're going to Nashville, Tennessee the first week in June. Going to do a prophetic adventure in Nashville, Tennessee. This one is going to be interesting. And each of them are unique and interesting in their own way. But we would love to have you support us. We do have a plan to finish doing the Madonnas of the Trail that the Lord told us to do. We've done 6 of them, and there's 12. So that is going to take a little bit of funding, because we're going to have to go to 3 states on the East Coast and 3 on the West Coast. And I have the time, but financially to be able to rent the car, stay in a hotel, and the price for food and stuff, we're going to need some finances to help support that mission. So if you'd like to give in to any of those adventures that are upcoming, whether it's Nashville or whether it's going on this Madonna of the Trail, which I'll tell you more about as well in the future. But if you would like to give or be a part of those 2 upcoming trips for this summer, we sure would appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for listening. I hope you're blessed by what you're learning through the Apostolic Resource Center.